One of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received in my life is a piece of advice that I virtually have never heard anyone on the internet talk about, and it's changed my life. And it's this: people should be 5% uncomfortable around you. And let me explain. Before you come for me, let me explain. When I say 5% uncomfortable, it does not mean that you are a rude, unkind, unpleasant, malicious person.
Most of your exhaustion isn't coming from your workload. It's coming from the manual labor of trying to keep everyone around you comfortable. You are spreading yourself thin, trying to manage their insecurities. But here is the truth. To reclaim your power, you have to be willing to be the villain in someone else's story. Today, we are talking about why being a little quote-unquote scary is the only way to protect your peace, and why people's discomfort is actually none of your business. Now, lovers, if this video resonates with you, I want you to drop a comment below with the word unshakable. Also, I try to read as many of your comments as I can. So let me know, what's one boundary that you've been afraid to set? Let's talk about it.
I intimidate people, and for the longest, I used to believe that being intimidating was such a negative trait. So I would dim my light, I would shrink myself, and try to become more digestible, all to make those around me feel more comfortable. When I finally faced the truth, I realized I was doing nothing wrong triggering their insecurities. See, when you're confident, you have a strong presence, you're attractive, you're successful, and you have boundaries, you are only going to intimidate those who have to pretend to have all of that. I remember a time someone had told me that I was very intimidating and they would love to hang out with me, but they know that I do not hang out with people like them. And I remember thinking, like, that is such a shallow thing for someone to say. But what I did not realize is that they were revealing their own insecurity right then and there to me. This person and I, we end up having a friendship, and they stuck around long enough until their mask slipped. The moment something beautiful happens in my life, it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, they started gossiping, they started lying, fishing for information about me, desperate to find anything to twist and make me seem like someone I was not. The truth is that you will intimidate people who are deeply insecure. Jealousy often shows up as projection, and your presence alone can trigger what they have yet confronted within themselves. Instead of them being inspired to grow, they try to tear you down because it's the only way they are going to feel powerful. I'm not gonna lie, at first I did let all that get to me, but when I started hearing the lies about me, I started to see everything clearly. They couldn't rise to my level, so they tried to drag me down to theirs, attempting to ruin my reputation just to make themselves feel superior, or at least in control. That experience did not break me though. What I learned is that I needed to stop trying to shrink myself into places that were never meant for someone like me. If my presence, confidence, kindness, and natural light makes you uncomfortable, that is your insecurity to unpack, not my responsibility to carry.
One of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received in my life is a piece of advice that I virtually have never heard anyone on the internet talk about, and it's changed my life. And it's this: people should be 5% uncomfortable around you. And let me explain. Before you come for me, let me explain. When I say 5% uncomfortable, it does not mean that you are a rude, unkind, unpleasant, malicious person. It means that there is an unspoken energy in your aura, an unspoken declaration that you don't need to verbalize outwards. It's in how you carry yourself, how you respect yourself, in your own self-worth, and how much you love yourself, that those around you do not feel comfortable enough to disrespect you, to talk down on you, or to betray you. This is something that is so important that I think every single person should hone in their lives, because it's going to radically change the way that you show up in your relationships, in business deals, in your friendships, and just in the way that you carry yourself out in the world. So this is the way that I see it. You should be a kind, graceful, loving human being. 95%. That is who you are. That is your energy. That is who you are at your core, and that is how you show up. However, there is this like underlying in the background something about you, just in the way that you speak about yourself and you speak to others, that signifies and signals out to the external world, excuse my language, you cannot fuck with me. Because if you fuck with me, you're going to unleash the warrior in me. I am telling you, the magnetism that you're going to have in your life, the people that you start attracting into your life, the opportunities, the energies is going to completely shift your life, because you're going to go from being this like people pleaser person who overextends themselves, who doesn't have boundaries, who isn't fully immersed in their self-worth, to this energy of I am in my power. I know who I am this kind, loving person, and you do not mess with my energy, because my energy is my gift and I protect it at all costs. And it's not something that you say, it's in how you carry yourself, it's in your energy. And if you guys would like, I can make a separate video. You comment part 2 and I'll make a separate video on how to actually do this. But I'm telling you, this advice will change your life.
People should, in fact, be slightly afraid of you. I saw somebody that posted a video and said this, but I'm going to tell you why I completely agree. And this is especially for my young women, and even more for my young women of color. I used to think that the idea of people being afraid of you or you being intimidating to people had a negative connotation. And I've been a chronic people pleaser and empath for years. Both socially and in my career, I feel like I've always strived to make people around me comfortable. Like, my main goal was to make sure that people were comfortable, people were not afraid of me, people did not think that I was a bitch, people did not think that I was cocky. But I'm not gonna lie, I really don't think that that got me anywhere, and I can totally see why you should have people who are slightly afraid of you. That humble, nicey nice shit is not really gonna get you as far as you think. I am not saying that you're not rewarded for being kind and a good person, but you can still be kind, nice, and a good person at the core and not be a pushover, not be someone who is super mushy and comes off as somebody who is easy to manipulate and use. I have had multiple energy vampire friends in my life, and I feel like I can't even blame them. That is because of the way that I tried so hard to make them comfortable and cared more about being a people pleaser than coming off intimidating and coming off as somebody who should repel their type of energy and make them not feel safe around me because they are too jealous and insecure to share the same air as me. I have also been in internships in certain jobs where I've, tried to be super, super nice and use all these exclamation points and be super eager and excited all the time to work and help people, only to realize that certain people at the company were getting more respect for being drier and seeming like you can't play with them, you can't push them over. There is power in being the person that people are afraid of. And this does not make you a bad person. This does not mean that when people come to you for help, you won't help them, that you are not giving.
When someone is trying to serve you, the lower hand. This is exactly how you play it. As someone who's been through this a tremendous amount of times, from every single age group you can imagine, even teachers, even family members, when someone is trying to serve you the lower hand, that basically means you are outnumbered, or multiple people in the room who doesn't like you, who's trying to make sure you don't get an opportunity, just mean spirit and trying to claim your energy. When I was a little girl, I remember I was in a group with my friends and I would be talking to them, and as they would be laughing at me, I would be laughing with them. I noticed my teacher started to pick me out. I noticed she would say, "Jenna, stop talking," when everybody else would be talking. I will understand when she said, "Jenna, she could get it herself," when someone drops their pencil on the floor and I give it up to them. It was always Jenna, 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 pick, pick, pick. I remember this woman had called my mom because I was interrupting the class, and in reality, I was just very sick. I went to the back to get a tissue and she said I got up without her permission. It was another time in my high school, an English teacher, if you know, you know. Remember, I dropped a pencil under my desk. I didn't even get up. I got it. She was in the middle of her talking. I remember when I got back up with my pencil, she just stopped and stared at me for 35 seconds, and I'm looking around like, what is going on? And then she cuts and rolls her eyes. I remember she was still talking. Somebody sneezed. I said, "Bless you." And she said, "Jenna, I'm tired of you interrupting." It was ridiculous. Moving forward to the mean girls, when I would be in groups and organizations, it would be very obvious when people just got done talking about me. They want to make sure that I see that they're looking at me, that I'm outnumbered. When you step into the room and you're confronted with these mean girls, these mean people who are kiki kaka or whispering when you walk in, you take it and you run with it. That's how you play it. You have them bothered. It is something about your presence, something about your mental that has you bothered. This used to crush me. Me finding out people don't like me used to crush me. Me trying to figure out why these girls and these teachers are just so mean to me and just causing all this attention and ruckus and trying to blame it on me that I'm causing this attention and this ruckus. I would be so confused. But then I remember I would be so confused because there was nothing I did, and that's when I said exactly. Baby, I don't have to do anything and you're bothered, your energy is disrupted. That's all I have to do is walk in. All you have to do is know I'm coming, and that makes you want to grab all your girls and make sure you team all of them against me and try to convince them not to like me, try to tell them all these rumors about me and to try and get something in their head. But baby, you know they got to meet me anyway. You're doing that because you know they're going to want to be friends with me. You're trying to serve me the lower hand when I've had the upper hand the entire time. Now, present day, don't let me find out that you don't like me. You're going to hate me. Don't let me find out that you're talking about me, because I'm going to give you something to talk about. All these people who want to smile in your face and talk behind your back and get other people not to like you and say slick things behind you and try to play it off like they didn't say something slick, you take note of that and you make them even more mad. And your energy that radiates, my energy that radiates, isn't going to stop either. Peace, love, and applesauce.
Have you ever wondered why the people closest to you don't support you when you start something new? Like launching a business, switching careers, or even just like chasing your dreams. It's easy to say they're jealous. It's easy to say that they're haters. But more often than not, it's deeper than that. It's psychological. Especially if you come from the same background, the same struggle, the same limitations. That's not just inspiring to people. That can be very triggering, because now you're a mirror and you reflect back what they could have done had they made different choices. And that's uncomfortable for most people. You become a reminder of the version of themselves that they abandoned. The version that wanted more but didn't feel brave enough to go after it, that didn't feel supported, that didn't believe that they were worthy. And instead of dealing with it directly, people cope in subtle ways. This is where cognitive dissonance comes in. That's the internal conflict someone feels when their current reality is challenged by a new truth. Maybe they've been telling themselves for years that people like you or people from your environment don't make it. That success is not realistic. That visibility is for other people, not for you, not for them. And now you're proof that these beliefs were not facts. They're just their fears. And now they got to either face that or reject you. So instead of clapping for you, they fall silent. Instead of supporting you, they become distant. Or worse, they become what many people call monitoring spirits. They watch everything you post, every move you make, never like, never engage, never share. And no, this does not mean that everyone who watches you and who doesn't engage is secretly hating. Okay, some people just consume content passively. That's normal. But when it's someone close to you, someone who used to show love, someone who used to engage, who used to be vocal, and now they're silent while still watching, that is not random. That's avoidance, and that's discomfort showing up as distance. Because deep down, it's not just that they don't like what you do, it's that they don't like what it brings up in them. When people come from the same starting point as you, your growth makes it harder for them to hide behind excuses. It exposes the fact that they had the same tools, the same environment, maybe even more resources than you had, and they still chose comfort. They still chose fear. They still chose to shrink themselves and play small. Not everyone is going to applaud your evolution, especially when your evolution highlights their stagnation. But your path is not meant to be validated by people who are still avoiding their own growth. The support you're looking for may not come from the people that you started with, but it will come. Your audience, your tribe, your aligned connections, they'll find you. And when they do, it'll make sense why the people closest to you had to fall away. Not because they were bad people, but because they weren't ready to face themselves. And your light made it impossible not to. If you're not getting the support that you expected, don't let it get to you, okay? Some people are fighting internal battles that have absolutely nothing to do with you. You're just a trigger. You're not the cause. A secure, confident person has no problem showing love to someone who's rising, okay? But not everyone is secure. Not everyone is healed. Not everyone is capable. And that's not your responsibility to fix or to shrink yourself for. So keep going, keep showing up, keep being proud of what you're building. The right people will never be threatened by your growth. They'll celebrate it. let them find you.
People get uncomfortable when you like yourself more than they feel like you should. When you're not ashamed of what they think you should be ashamed of. When you live your life according to your own taste and your own interests instead of what's trending or popular. Being around authentic energy triggers a lot of people. It makes them feel less than, because the truth is so many are pretending to be someone that they're not, that they assume you're pretending to. It triggers cognitive dissonance when they realize that you're actually about that life. I'm not this way by magic. I like myself. I'm all that I got. So I don't compare myself to others, unless they're comparing themselves to me. And even then, I'm still the winner. I don't understand how regular ass people can compare themselves to other regular ass people. We are not in high school. Life is whipping us all. So if you choose to spend your life appeasing other people, that's fine. No skin off my back. But don't act like there's something wrong with me because I do my own thing. Let that be a lesson. To you, it's just who you are. You're regular, you're humble. But to others, your energy, it might be bright and powerful. That throws people off. For people who are not used to vibrating that high, you're a problem.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but just remember that once you become a better version of yourself, people who knew the old version of you, if they are closer to that old version of you, the old habits, the old mindset, the old environments, they are going to be so repelled by the new version of you, and they will be like, oh my gosh, you've changed so much, I just don't understand, I miss the old you, because the old you made them comfortable. And you have to remember that when you're doing better for yourself, you don't want to downplay yourself just to make other people comfortable, because then at that point you're living your life for them and not for yourself. I'm never going to be the old version of me. I don't want to be the old version of me. And if that makes certain people uncomfortable, then that has nothing to do with me and more to do with yourself. When you're on this journey to becoming the best version of yourself, people will not understand at all why you're doing it, what you're doing it for, and they just can't even fathom wanting to live life in that light or that perspective, because at one point in time y'all were both down here together. So now that you're trying to move up in life, they're like, wait, where are you going? What are you doing? When I say that you guys were down here together, I'm saying like you guys were in the same situations. You could relate to them more at this stage than you could when you're progressing your life and trying to move forward in your life. With that being said, don't make these people comfortable, girl. Keep doing you, keep becoming the best version of yourself, and don't look back.
Stop editing your personality to protect fragile egos. If people call you intimidating or too much, you should realize they are just words they use for someone they can no longer control. You need to stop being a safety net for people who wouldn't catch you if you fell. It's okay to be the storm. It's okay to be the person they don't know how to handle. As for me, I'd much rather be left to be who I am than loved for a version of me that exists only to others' comfort. We've been conditioned to believe